Well, hello there, monsters. Welcome to our next flip video, and in this flip video we are going to be talking about fractions. And our first question that we need to ask ourselves is, what is a fraction? So we're going to dig deep into that. We're going to talk about what a fraction is, the parts of a fraction, and how we represent a whole fractional parts when writing fractions. Okay, so if we're talking about fractions, a lot of times you're going to see a fraction written like this. You're going to have a number, and this little dividing bar here divides the two numbers, and then another number on the bottom. Let's talk about what those pieces actually mean. So when we're talking about fractions, we think about fractions as being pieces of a whole. So a fraction is a piece of a whole number or a whole object. And remember, when we're saying whole, we're not talking like a hole in the ground. We're talking of the whole thing, like a whole pizza. When we split our fraction up, our top number is our numerator. Okay, that's how many pieces out of the whole that we're referring to. And our bottom number is our denominator. And that's how many equal parts there are. A way to help you remember if the numerator's on top or the bottom, or denominator's on top or the bottom, if you remember that denominator starts with D, like in the word down, that'll help you remember that denominator is at the bottom, it's down. So now that we know what these parts are called, let's talk about what that actually looks like. When we have a fractional part, what does that actually look like? So if I gave you a question, like for Halloween, Zoe got an entire chocolate bar, like a whole chocolate bar, not a mini size, a whole chocolate bar. And of course she wanted to come home and eat the whole thing. And as her mom, I had to say, okay, little 3-year-old Zoe, you cannot eat the entire candy bar, but you can have part of the candy bar. And I gave her 1/4 of that candy bar. So what I had to do with the candy bar is I had to split it into 4 equal parts. And it kind of looks something like this. So I had to split it into 4 equal parts. And then I gave her 1 of the 4 parts. Oh, we're going to say I gave her this part. 1 out of 4 parts. So when I ask you the question, how much of the candy bar did Zoe get to eat? Well, she got to eat 1 out of 4 parts. And we say that fraction as 1/4. So we say 4 as fourths. She ate 1/4 of the whole candy bar. So as we move forward and we begin splitting entire whole objects into pieces, let's remember this example, and it will help us remember how to think about fractions as one part of a whole object. So let's do some more practice as we go through here. Okay, I'm giving you 3 whole shapes here. I want to talk about how we split these in 2 fractional parts. So if I look at my top shape here, this top blue rectangle, and I want to split my rectangle into 2 equal parts. So I need to split it down the middle. And if I asked you what fractional part this piece represents, you would tell me that this is 1 piece out of how many total parts? Let's count them. This is 1, 2. So this is 1 piece out of 2 parts. And this piece is 1 piece out of 2 parts. So each part represents 1/2 of the entire shape. So 1 out of 2 parts is represented as 1/2. Let's look at our red circle now. If I wanted to split this into 4 equal parts, we've done this a little bit in our everyday math. We can do that by making a plus sign, and I realize my circle's kind of more of an oval, So this doesn't look exactly equal, but we're going to imagine this is a circle and we're splitting into 4 equal parts. And when I do that and I want to identify what fractional part this piece represents, well, I would say that that is 1 out of how many total equal parts? 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 1 out of 4 equal parts. So how would I say this fraction? Say it for me. Yeah, this would be 1/4 again. This is 1 out of 4 parts. Okay. Now on my green rectangle, I'm going to challenge you a little bit. I want to split this green rectangle into 8 equal parts. So I want you to pause the video and draw a rectangle yourself. Make sure it's nice and long to give yourself plenty of room. And try to split that rectangle into 8 equal parts. Push play when you're ready. Okay, so the trick to making sure they're equal is to continue to split pieces in half. So I'll start in the middle, take my whole rectangle and I split it into 2 equal parts. And then I'm going to split this half into half and this half into half. So now I have how many equal parts? Yes, 4. I don't have enough yet. So now I'm going to take each piece and I'm going to split that piece into half. Now if we count up our pieces, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 equal parts. Okay, now if I look at this first part here, this is 1 part or 1 piece out of how many equal parts? You're right, 8. Now how do we say 1/8? Yes, 1/8 is how we would read this, okay? If I told you that I ate, let's pretend this is a candy bar, I ate 3/8 of the candy bar. How would I represent that? Well, what I would do is I would shade in 3 of the 8 pieces. And when you ask me how many pieces did I eat, I would say I ate 3 out of 8 pieces, or I ate 3/8. I could also ask you a question like how many pieces are left? Well, I would count up my pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5 out of 8 pieces left in my chocolate bar. How many pieces are left? How do we read that as a fraction? We would say 5/8. Okay, so here's my question to you. I want you to work on these problems and bring them back in with you on Wednesday when your whisk is due. And we're going to talk further about these problems and determine the correct answer. So I gave you 3 rectangles here. We're going to pretend like they're 3 green chocolate bars. They're the newest, coolest green chocolate there is. And on this first chocolate bar, you're really excited because it was your first one. So you ate half of that chocolate bar, 1/2. On your second chocolate bar, you ate 1/4 of the chocolate bar. And on this last one, you ate 4/8 of the chocolate bar. So your job before you come in with your whisk is take these 3 rectangles, split them into the correct equal parts, and shade in the amount that you ate. And we're going to talk further about this on Wednesday as we dive deeper into fractions. And as always, I finish with a joke for you. Here's your joke. What did the 0 say to the 8? What did the 0 say to the 8? All right there, Monstars. Here's your flip video, and I hope you have a great week.